We begin with breaking news where South Sudan's opposition and rebel leader Riek Machar has reportedly left the country. A spokesman says Machar has gone to a safer country within the region. Last week, President Salva Kiir rejected the deployment of 4,000 more UN peacekeepers in the country. Machar and his forces left the capital Juba in July after battles with fighters loyal to Kiir killed hundreds of people. Machar has said he will not return to Juba until the peacekeeping force is deployed. Well, for more on this, joining me now is Zeina Awad. Zeina, as well as being a veteran journalist, you've spent many years in Africa working for the UN as an investigator, including a lot of time in South Sudan. Talk to us about what has led up to this point and the significance of Machar fleeing.
Well, it's very, very significant when you consider the fact that Machar only came back to South Sudan in April of this year. He has been out of sight for a while, and it was last month when supporters of Machar and supporters of President Kiir fought each other in the streets of Juba. Now, this came as a shock because a lot went into brokering the peace deal between the two men. And the two men signed a peace deal in August of last year. They agreed to share power, but it was a fragile peace, and that's when Machar came back to South Sudan. But since July, things have gotten out of control. He has said that he fears for his safety, and now we finally gotten confirmation through actually a Facebook post from someone from his campaign, from his team, saying that he's had to flee the country.
So he clearly fears for his safety. Let's talk about the safety of civilians on the ground there. Will him leaving the country have any impact there?
Well, Natasha, the war in South Sudan has taken a huge, disastrous toll on the people of South Sudan. It all started in December 2013. It was we always hear it's the youngest nation in the world. Well, in its short-lived lifespan, it spent more time in war than it has in peace. So the two men have had a rivalry that has gone on for a number of decades. And since December 2013, it's taken on an ethnic dimension. So their supporters, who are predominantly Nuer and Dinka, have been fighting each other. 2 million South Sudanese have had to be displaced both internally and outside of the country, and tens of thousands have been killed. And in fact, just in the last month, since this latest wave of violence has started, we are hearing that thousands have had to flee mostly to neighboring Uganda and Kenya. So the situation is disastrous for the people, and it also has a regional implication because so many people have had to flee.
You are painting a very bleak but unfortunately accurate picture there, Zeina. We know that Salva Kiir has rejected the UN wanting to bring in 4,000 peacekeeping troops. What exactly can the international community do here?
Well, the international community has been struggling. There was a lot of support for South Sudan to become an independent state historically, and now the situation that we're seeing, the U.S. has actually been the biggest backer of this plan, which now is going to be implemented according to the UN to send 4,000 additional troops specifically to Juba to protect civilians there. But the Kiir government has rejected it. It said this is unwarranted, if you will, foreign intervention. And we also have seen probably the biggest attack on foreign workers in the city of Juba since the war started. And that happened last month in July. A compound that's well known for having foreigners, actually I've been on that compound before, was attacked for 4 hours. Supporters of the Kiir government went on a rampage. We understand that they've even sexually assaulted both South Sudanese women as well as foreign women. So there's a lot of tension at the moment, from what I understand, inside of Juba towards foreigners, and there's definitely a rejection, all-out rejection by the government to the idea of sending more troops.
Zeina Awad, thank you so much for joining us with your insight.